video doing too. I don't know what's going on, but I guess we'll have to do it like this. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the live, more or less. Um,
We're live.
so well, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out like what's going on. But anyway, I'm David, and this is Steve, and we are here, more or less. Oh, maybe I should just. Okay, fine. So, Steve, how things been going?
How are you, David? I'm doing
Um,
good. This is my
good.
last week, last day here on the island before I return. So preparations are in full swing for me to return to Trinidad. So
Yeah, I know. I mean, seminary starts back on Friday. That's, hella scary. Well, I shouldn't say
mhm.
hella scary. I should say hella interesting.
Well, not scarier for me than for you.
Ah, well, I guess this new life is kind of, interesting and dynamic in its own way, more or less. So, anything new happened this week? I mean, we had a lot going on for us, more or less.
Oh, um, since last week Monday, I would say not much. Only preparations for coming back to Trinidad.
Mm-hmm.
Going here and there with some of the youths to do some minor things before leaving, packing, visiting. Basically, that's what I've been doing and doing the last little details before I come.
All right, cool. I mean, I guess. Um, but I remember calling you this weekend. You were out bowling with some people that I know very well.
Yeah,
One who claimed to be
yesterday.
the oldest. Yeah. So, um, so guys, bear with me. I'm kind of going through some technical difficulties. We've been trying some things new, so some things are just
Yeah,
yeah,
I see that there's a little tech problem with the internet as well.
yeah. I mean, so much internet. I mean, you've proven to be so, so good to me. All right. So just maybe I should delete this and see what happens. It's like we're there, but it's like I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I guess we could still like talk and like, put things in this, etc., etc.
Right. I can
Or
hear
maybe
you.
we should start a new broadcast and see what happens. What do you think?
Well, if it doesn't work properly, then sure.
Well, I think for now we could just roll like this, just get into it. I mean, it could be a bit distracting, but I'm trying my best to see what can be done.
Yeah, if any case, if it drops and I can't hear you and I start shaking my head like it's because I didn't hear what you said and I'm trying to fill it in.
You're trying to fill it in. Oh God. Okay. That's interesting. Um, so yeah, my week wasn't bad either. I think my what I preached about in the early is kind of hit home for me more or less. Are you shaking your head because you're not hearing anything?
I I heard your week is going great, and then no.
Oh Lord. Good God. Okay.
Keep going, keep going. They will
Yeah.
they will hear you, I hope.
Well, I hope so too. But
If anything, please let us know in the chat if everything's all right with you guys, if you guys can hear properly. If not, then
yeah, we'll make it happen like a
David will
loan
lose
from
country.
Republic or something. I don't know. We'll just try. But um okay, I think I got into the promised land now. Don't ask, it's just happening.
Well, it can't be Seitar. Seitar na doon na bong internet.
Well, let's just put it this way. He can't do what we're doing right now. But yeah, I think I'm getting some progress. I think. Uh, right. Sometimes all you just need is a little reset and a little creativity and
Yeah, we're
uh,
getting some people. Hello, Father Jairo.
okay, I'm glad that we have been trying
Good,
to like,
good.
bring things back up to par. Okay, great. Now we're both on live now again. All right. So, um, I guess we could see each other at this point. All right. As I was saying,
Yeah.
I had a great week. A great-ish week. I think you know partially why that week was kind of like, partly interrupted. Um, I think when I started to preach this Sunday, one of the things that I need to realize is that sometimes the power of the tongue comes back and bites you in the you know what. So
Oh,
strange
do I
enough
know it?
today, I mean, strange enough today's reading kind of speak to that too because um on the weekend's reading it kind of speak about do not be afraid, cool, and I kind of speak about one of the things that I more or less struggle with, well, I wouldn't say struggle, but I never really faced on, never really dealt with too well. And I think that was just anger. And then today's reading talks about, if you have a problem with your brother, you two hash it out. Um, It's kind of interesting because the topic that we're going to talk about today kind of deals with, how do we hash it out synodality and, well, synodally, I should say, which was a topic that came up last week with some of you. Some of you are giving us some hard topics, but we're
Yeah.
making it work more or less. Um, so the topic we really had in mind was the elderly versus the
Well, any
youth.
hard questions, I will leave for David because I know he did his things, so he has his papers in theology and all of that, so
I
he
haven't
he
even
would know how to answer it.
You see, this is why we drown as a people, like this is a teamwork, Steve.
Right, right. But I'll you leave the philosophy, I'll give you the theology.
You know what? I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not. I'm definitely not. Um, that's not things that keep coming up, that's fine. But yeah, so like one of the topics that y'all had for us, which we kind of like, kind of concrete together not too long ago, was the elderly versus the
Yeah.
youth, and that thing that we love to fight for in church and whatever the case may be. Um, the thing. And I mean, that's the safe way I could put it right now. But as the conversation unfolds, it might turn into something, I don't know, a bit drastic. Um,
Right.
so yeah, who's starting first? Rock, paper, scissors.
No, well, I wanted to say regarding to the readings of today, don't we do that, or haven't we done that a lot, the two of us?
Mhm.
But also, don't we do that a lot in the seminary?
I mean, in this the perfect training ground. Because we're such a dynamic range of age, from rector straight down to the newest seminarian, really. Because I think the youngest and well, before I left, the youngest was 25, and the
And me and
oldest,
Luke,
yeah, and the oldest seminarian is like 41, 42. And then the oldest priest at that point in time was 77. And I'm not going to call the priest name because hey ho. But we deal with different age groups in the seminary, and it's like they have different ways of communicating, different needs, different ways to show love, if it's love at all. Um, but it has been a conversation that has been more or less hush hush in the church for so many years. And I think Synod kind of brought out um a full range of how the needs of those things could be met. And um I think one of the main issues is leadership that like how do we manage leadership with the with those who have a senior rank to those who are now coming into ministry. And I don't know about you, Steve, but in the Caribbean setting, more or less, um there is a a, a year limit, I should say, that you more or less could stay in ministry for. I don't know why I'm fumbling for my words because I think it's a tough topic to kind of talk about. But
No,
when you
because we thinking of a lot of people that we don't want to step on their toes.
Yeah, it's like shame on us kind of thing, but but we still love them no matter what, right? Um, so in Trinidad, I'm not too sure about, Aruba, but 3 years is the max that you're supposed to stay in ministry. And when you do 3 years, more or less, it's time for you to move on. Or give someone else a
Yeah,
chance, if to put it in smooth
yeah.
language.
I don't know if there is a parish that has that like set in their rules that it's only a 3 year or 5 year or a year. I don't know. My parish doesn't have that. And I know from a fact that there has been people in doing the same ministry since the time we got started as a party in 1986, and I've continued doing everything in their parish, either singing or working in one form of ministry or another. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any other parish, because I can say for my parish, I don't know the other parish if they have a limit, but I doubt it because sometimes people also forget that, yes, setting a limit to how many years you can be in ministry is one thing, but to get a proper replacement is also another thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the training of a new replacement and to make sure that there is continuity, all of those things sometimes makes people not want to change leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And so you will get people still being in ministries while walking with their canes or still singing while they sound like parakeets. So I'm making jokes here, no?
I mean, you say I wasn't gonna cross people toes, but I think you've literally started to
No, I ain't
bulldoze.
crossing no toes. I ain't crossing no toes.
Oh God, we praise God for that. But yeah,
Let's hope they don't have you too.
right. So one of the things that I face in ministry particularly is I don't want to call it a power dynamic, but it's a conversation between the elderly and the youth. Um, where it is that our work, well, the parish that I'm in, one of them at least, is very much youth empowered. It's like youth are in everything, are in hospitality and altar servers, even lay ministry now. I'm not lay, but Eucharistic ministry, lay. Um, Hospitality, I did say hospitality, yeah, choir, you name it, they're there, right? Even for when there's special events and everything, it's mostly youths who are in the forefront to do things. And you can kind of feel like the cold tension in the room where it is that um you how to put it, you feel the elderly just saying, I want to get involved because the youth feel they know everything and all this kind of thing. And um it's like it's almost like the reverse of the notebook, more or less, where it is that um I don't know, like growing up for me, one of the hardest things was to enter into ministry and entering into leadership into ministry as a youth. where you would find the
Mm.
elderly would say, you young, you don't know anything about this, and you need somebody to teach you about that, which I humbly accepted at that point in my life because honestly, I jumping into ministry. I haven't read some of the text that was required for certain ministries, and I'm thrown into the deep to do something, and of course, the elderly wants to make sure that we are, you know, on the same page.
Mass, how to fix things, how to set the altar and all. But most of them did not approve of letting in that time a 12, 13-year-old boy um do things that are done normally by elders. And where you different with me is that you accepted it with humility. I would show you that I will do it and I will do it better. And I don't care if you're going to teach me or not. I am going to do it. I am going to put a step forward and I'm going to push and do it until I can do it by myself. And that is what I did.
Hmm.
So that part of humility, I didn't have it. I didn't have it. I'm going to show you that I can do it, whether you're going to help me or not.
Right.
Because I'm not here to serve you. I'm here to serve God. So
Exactly. I think,
that part has been different for me.
well, true. And I also think that another part to play with it, and I think some people might say, I'm wrong for saying this, but the priest also has a very vital part in discerning how to about going about choosing leaders. And the thing is that most of the church life has grown to know that, whatever the priest says goes. This is what the priest is. The priest is the the know all, the end all, the be all, the whatever all, right?
Mhm.
And now that, you know, we're not seeing the strength of numbers of priests in the 21st century as we should, even though, our role is to really promote vocations and to bring young men and women to the front to do service, to do charity, to do, works of God and, corporal works of mercy and all these sort of things is now being reduced because we're in a world where people prefer to work in the world and deal with those type of struggles in the world because the church has become too difficult, too strenuous,
Yes.
ruled by traditionalism, quote unquote. And
Right.
um, those mentalities are still there. And our uh that's what people, and I wouldn't say our people, to say that only Catholic people, but this is what people universal are more or less going to what to see the face of the church now. And when you only have like one view of the church, it's like, you only have one view of life. Life goes this way, life ends this way, life in between goes this way, and that's it. Right? But
Mm.
the one thing in life that is assured is change. And the church has ever grown to adapt the culture, adapt to different waves of sensitivities, acceptance, and a lot of people now more or less saying, well, the church true traditional because it's the same mass over and over again. And it's not. I mean, the church is loaded with saint days, is loaded with martyrs, is loaded with so much more than what you think. And we are just to continue adding to the story. Case in point, September will be next canonization of the first youth in the 21st century who is a saint,
Right.
which he and I are the same age, if you really had to put it together, because if he could do it, then I could do it too. You can do it too. We all can.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it took one brave act for Carlos to reach where he is right now, sainthood, which is something that the church has always ministered and preached to, that we are all called to be saints. Don't miss the opportunity, quoting from Mother Angelica. But in in terms of looking at the I mean, I hate to call it a battle because it's not a battle. It's something that just
Sometimes feels as if it is, especially from the youth point of view sometimes, but sometimes even at the elders' point of view, it seems like it is a battle because
mm,
both of them are trying to grab on something. It is either the youth trying to do things in a new way,
mm,
while the elders are trying to hold on to the way they have been doing it for the last 50 years.
mm.
So it feels as if it's a it's a it's a battle between now and then.
And you know what? I don't know. Like, I mean, you touched something there for me because every time I think I encounter someone in church now, particularly as my role as, transitional seminarian, um, or I should say seminarian still, because at the end of the day, I didn't receive candidacy as yet. Um, that line that we hear over and over again, back in my day, it used to be da 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 da, and I
Right,
think the
right. That is a catchphrase. That is a catchphrase.
And the thing is that the elderly say that they have things that irk them. We as youth have things that irk us too. And that
That's true.
line irked us because, for one,
Back in my day, we used to do this. We used to do that. The
uh,
candles used to be put in this order. The flowers would be put in every small detail they want. They use that line. And again, as
mhm.
you just said, it goes, but yeah.
Yeah. And see, the thing is that the conversation that we're having here, it should, how to put it? It should not. I'm trying to find my words because if I say the
Yeah, yeah,
wrong
yeah.
thing, I can
Yeah.
see a
No,
flag
yeah.
coming up on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can see a
Although
huge flag.
you use yours, I can kill it.
Steve. Anyway, um, you see, the thing is that we Jesus, you'll have to
Go on,
forgive me,
brother.
you
You
know.
know you want to say it. You know you want to say it.
We have been practicing synodality from since COVID. And even before that, according to Archbishop Jason, we have been doing synodality in the church for so many years, but we have neglected it. Some of us have more or less twisted into our own interpretation, and some of us don't even like it now. And we we are sitting in church. We want change. We want everything to happen. The church is giving us tools. The church is giving us everything to say, well, okay, it can happen. But no one is moving. No one is making that extra step. And we go in into a synodal church. We're in the year of a jubilee, for crying out loud. And
Hmm.
in a jubilee, we still have the same problems from since 1990 something, 1980 something, 19. You know, I mean, it's frustrating that we are to listen to our elders. But today's reading in particular, the gospel speaks of if you have an issue with your brother, you and him rango tango it out, putting Trini words into it. You fight with it. You deal with it. And if it is that, you know, if the brother is not listening to you, then carry someone else. And if it is you can't carry someone else, today particular, Father Steve spoke about it in his homily. We in Trinidadian have a term called bacchanal. In other words, chaos. In other words, bring them out and drama them. What does drama them means? If it is you cannot see that you're stuck in your stoic ways, then let society show you that you
How
are
can I
stuck
translate
in your
bacchanal
stoic.
properly for in Parliament?
Yeah, please. Because I'm trying to bring it in a very,
I
I don't
I can
know,
think of a few words,
English.
but I can't say them.
Lord have mercy. But anyway, um,
Keep going.
while Steve is trying to figure out that good and back in there too. Um, the thing is that, as I said earlier, there are words that trigger us as youth, and we as youth, we trigger the elderly with our words as well too. I'm not totally defending the youth here because right now I'm
Oh
very
no, no, we
close.
can't.
No, because today or tomorrow I could be very close to the elderly line, and I wouldn't want to be. mistreated or ill-treated just because of something that I said in 2025. And it's an ever-tiring conversation that can be simply resolved if it is that we just do what Jesus tells us to do, love one another. But
There is a balance here, no?
go on.
There is a balance that needs to be found
Mm-hmm.
because by letting youths entering into the ministries, it should not be seen as if we are kicking out the old because the old is no longer useful.
Mm-hmm.
But the elders in the group, and I don't mean old as in the old people, I mean the old ways, no? The old ways are no longer useful. I don't mean that. It is that the youths have the new way. They bring new thoughts, new ideas that are more known by their generation.
Mm-hmm.
The old way is from that generation. And it is a balance that we're trying to find here because the youths do not enter ministry knowing everything about the ministry either.
Right.
They are here to learn about what they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
They have ideas, they want to present their ideas, but they also have to come in with an open ear to hear the elders in the group, their experiences, their thoughts, what they have been through, so that they can see how and where I can put my ideas into practice.
That's
And that
right.
is why I'm telling you that there's a balance in this age gap because, as I mentioned before, it seems like a battle sometimes
Yes.
between the old and the new, between
Mm-hmm.
the elders and the youths. But it shouldn't be because the youth should be taught to sit at the feet of the elder to listen to his knowledge, their knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But the elders, on the other hand, should be taught that they should pass on their knowledge to the youths and
Mm-hmm.
be open to whatever the youth has to bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
It is a give and take kind of situation. Both sides cannot be sitting and say that this is my way and this is how I'm going to do it, and this is my way and this is how it should be done. Because then we're not working synodally. We're not working according to a synodal church.
No. And for those of us who don't know what synodality is or what a synodal church is, um, it's more or less an encounter. That's the simplest way I can put it. An encounter with the Holy Spirit that speaks to the church to bring reason, to bring faith, to bring understanding, to are we moving in the 21st century church like Christ is gathering us to move? And Pope Francis in his brilliance, and I think Pope Leo also continues to go along in the lines of synodality in his teaching. Said that, time and time again, we've been hearing church hate, and time again, we've been hearing church complaints. And I think he thinks that it's necessary that we come together and we mend those pains together, walk together, journey together and using the gifts of the Holy Spirit to do so. So that's a simple way of putting Synod. There's a lot more to it. You can visit the Synod website on the Vatican page, and you can learn more about what synodality is and how you have an active role in synodality. This was not a paid political announcement, but um, but moving forward, yes, there is a middle ground in terms of that there are hurts between the both parties and there are ways in how the conversation can take place. But I think it takes a certain revelation and a certain humility to understand that this is this is not Rome. It can't be built in a day. But Rome was built in a day. So, um, what I think is necessary at this point in time is understanding that the conversations we've had around it is not helpful. The conversation that we are giving our youth because Steve, you and I can easily fall into that category of when we were growing up, the church was
Yes, no, yes,
XYZ,
yes,
right?
yes,
And we are not
yes.
old. That's the thing.
No, no, that's true. That
We
is
are not.
true. I have already seen it this year. No, but when I started doing altar service 10 years, altar serving 10 years ago, we used to do this and this and this and this, and
Mhm.
it makes you feel as if you're one of these 60, 70 years old.
Talk
But
about Abraham for you, right? But
hmm,
not Abraham, Moses, good Lord. I mean, to this day, nobody knows where Moses is or where he was buried, but I think that reading today, that first reading today speaks very important to us, where it is that we have to learn to bury the hatchet. Not calling Moses a hatchet by spite, but um, there has to be some way that we can not well, using the metaphor, bury the hatchet, and leave it buried. Like, don't bother to go back to it and be like, you see, this is the same thing I was talking about. Then you continue raising the anger and you continue raising the hellfire that we have tried to fix in Synod. And we have tried to more or less become a synodal church, a church full of hope, uh, a church of the Jubilee, and oh, am I hearing an echo? Steve, are you listening to this?
no.
Oh, okay. Probably somebody trying to fuse in online. I don't know. Um, but yeah. So like case in point, to to the elderly
No.
and as well to those of us who are stuck in Steve and my category, because we can easily fall into
In age limbo.
in age limbo, right? Because when you cross 20, sisters and brothers, boys and girls, yeah, you're going to start saying, back in my time,
Yeah, well,
and
I don't know if any of the youths from Aruba is watching right now, but I
know, if I had to put it in a Disney sort of a way, um, I would be Beauty and he would be Beast. But I knew he would look away for that one. But anyway, um, but even so, when you cross that threshold, you more or less um fall into that
stupid is what
pitfall,
you're saying.
right? Um,
Yeah.
also someone actually put a comment here actually. Sometimes in the preferential option for youth, priests make it sound like elders don't have value. Oh, I wonder if that's Trinidad or Aruba.
Oh, well, I saw the comment at first. It says Steve has heard me sing, lol.
So
So
I
I
guess it's
don't
someone
know
that
if
you
it's
know.
it might be, but I see I don't recognize the name because I don't know what IGIT means.
Right. But
But
um to add to that, or I get or however you would put your name, um to add to that, not all priests are like that. I think
no, that is very
yeah, not all priests are like that. Like
not
some
all.
priests, like they see the value in youth and they probably see in their parishes that, youth are not where they're supposed to be. So they would add a little more favoritism towards youth in terms of pulling them from the back and bring them to the front. Uh, that, I mean, it's a very difficult chore to do as a seminarian or a priest. And, you could easily, um, how to put it away, you could easily be rumored as a priest or a seminarian if it is that you choose one side more than the other. That's where I see the downfall. So how a priest does that has to be very, pastoral, has to be much starting off as a teaching lesson because the reading of the weekend asks us, unless you become like little children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. And, I have seen some priests, particularly in Trinidad and Tobago, that does wonders with the elderly. Like the other day, I remember in the parish that I'm in, I've heard um I've heard a lot of people say that there was a priest that used to be here. God rest his soul now, Father Mahadu Singh, I think that's his name. he made his responsibility at the end of every mass to treat the elderly. So he would tell everybody else, unless you're not an elder, the end of mass function was not for you, which was a breakfast that he would have where he would sit and engage with the elderly, talk with them, ask them how they're going, give them breakfast. And some parishioners would stay and they would socialize because when you've reached a particular stage in your life, you could feel alone. And that doesn't only mean when you reach senescence that you become alone. No, anybody could become alone in this day and age. And I think COVID
Yes.
proved that to us more or less, where it is that um we couldn't stay isolated for too long. I mean, some of us mastered it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, school did wonders for me for like the first 6 months, and then after that, I was like pulling out my hair. I'm gonna go back. But you know, I wouldn't say that all priests are, you know,
No, 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 it's true because some priests would prefer elders because they don't want to go through the headache of teaching.
hmm
They don't want to go, they have done for the parish because, like it or not, that this is a very useful tip for the youths. Like the elder or not, like his or her company or not, agree with him or not, they have done work for the parish. They have given parts of their free time for the parish. They have worked for the parish, and that has value and needs to be respected.
agreed.
It is not that. So yeah, I would say we as the seminarians will have to look for the balance in treating the elders with the respect that is very much due for their work, while still allowing the new generation, the youths, to take control,
That's
to
right.
learn, and to fill in the gaps when elders are no longer there.
That's right.
That is the balance that is needed.
It
But
is.
David, how then as very much you closer to ordination, um, how do you see we bringing that balance?
I think that question I've been thinking about since the last time we spoke because um being someone who is new to ordination, literally, being someone who is new to the idea of I'm going to be a leader and people are going to turn to me to ask me to deal with certain situations or um to counsel certain things. It can be a bit scary to believe because all your life you've been the independent person. You didn't have to report to anyone. You didn't have to more or less go through a period where it is that, somebody had to a whole group of people had to come to you to ask you, you know, father that just hear the father part alone is like, "Oh, I have children now." Oh,
And you can hear the father coming around. Father,
well, I guess it's
go
something
no.
scary. I hope that's not an impediment, just saying. But I hear it already, and the thing is that I I'm a strong believer that the Holy Spirit knows what he's doing. And I I wouldn't know until I get now the parish. Most of the parish sees me as the seminarian, as in Walter Silver Senior. Just let's just put it that way. And when I do become a deacon by God's grace and God's movement, I'll be called to another state of leadership that people are going to start recognizing, his time is coming closer for him to become a priest. Um,
Mhm.
Maybe we should start a conversation with him. Maybe we should start understanding who he is now. I mean, not to say that it's not happening, but Um, Sometimes the culture shock comes in waves for me as a seminarian right now. Um, when people are coming to me to ask me, brother, let's talk. I like the way how you preach. Let's talk. And this is not only from you, this is from elderly people or middle-aged people, which is a shock for me because if I couldn't do this with my mother at home, because she would be like, who you feel you're talking to so? I'm getting it in church now where it is that people are seeing the Spirit of God moving in me. And when I'm ordained, I'm still going to be a young man without any bald spot, just showing you all, just a few grades. But
Yeah,
Jesus is Lord to the glory of God the
yeah,
Father. Um,
yes,
right? But it, I think I'm trying to figure it out as I go along because church was here before me and church is going to be here after me. Issues happened way before I was born or you were born, and the same issues are happening now, but it's just multiplied into the tenfold. And I think the only answer I can give to all of this right now is one out of two. One where Jesus said, peace be still, because the answer sometimes comes in the silence of your heart and your mind. And the other one is from my, I guess one of my rectors here. Um, he always say, David, you have to fly 65,000 feet above because you know yourself, you know what your strengths and weaknesses are, you know what you can give. You were not ordained with super oil for you to grow into Superman. You were ordained with oil for you to remember that you are a man and that you were anointed as priest, but still you are not appointed as Superman. And some
which you
I
have
don't
to
know.
keep reminding me most of the times.
Mhm. And the thing is that even I would need advice too, from both young and old, because young
Right?
people also have a voice. Old people, middle-aged people, or I'll get buff for calling them old people, but people young at heart, they have a voice, and um, it should not be neglected. It should be heard, and it should go into listening ears. What do I do with that? Only the Holy Spirit could decide. Only prayer could decide. So, what I can advise you is that you will feel the pressures of ministry when you're entering into this. You will. You will feel like as though you want to help everyone, but it's gonna drain you. You have to be you have to be very cautious of yourself and
Yes.
who you are and what you give. Because we both have grown into the masses of you young, you can't do this, and you're old. Maybe it's time that you take a seat in church and let the young people take over. And those two dialogues needs to stop. It needs to have some sort of care, some pastoral care. It needs some sort of clarity.
Yeah.
It needs some sort of, how do we treat each other as family? You're my brother, you're my sister in this.
Can I come and help you? I think it would be best if I come and help you. That is a good start, as I'm saying,
Hmm.
as a youth. I want to come and help you. Can you teach me what you're doing? Is a different approach than I think your time is up. It's my turn.
And that's it. So let's use that scenario and paint from that scenario, right? From that scenario, we could see where the conversation went wrong already. Where the
Hmm.
youth says, okay, because father put me here, or father trusts me to do this responsibility, I go and do it anyhow. That's it wrong. If the elderly comes in church and he or she has been doing this post from before, and father ain't had the conversation with him yet, or her, but you decide because father only had the conversation with you, dismiss who was there before. Because they're doing I was gonna say stupid, but that's bad to say. They've been doing a job that has not been um fulfilling towards the ministry that it's called for, and you feel that you've been anointed by God and blah blah blah. On the flip side, even if Father hasn't talked to you about this person who has assumed your ministry, quote unquote, we love to say, this is my ministry because Father put me here since I was so many years ago. Um,
Father so and so gave me this position 50 years ago, and I've been carrying it ever since.
that's right. So now that you feel that you know that you are Moses in this case, even Moses had Joshua,
Hmm.
even David had his sons, even Jesus had his disciples. And the difference between these three leaders and what we have now is that they realized that their lifespan was limited and that they needed to train who they needed to train now. Aaron came up the ranks, Joshua came up the ranks, David came after Saul, and David
Hmm.
continued even though David had his shortcomings. I could speak to that because I think most of us have our shortcomings when it comes to ministry. Um, Jesus, even though he was in the form of man, he humbled himself and accepted death. That's on a cross. But where was his apostles at the time of death? So
They scattered.
even so, no matter how many times the conversation takes place, it has to continue taking place. One time shots can't work in in the church anymore. We can't just have one dialogue and expect the youth to understand. And youth, you
Hmm.
can't say that you send them a WhatsApp message and they're gonna get it. It doesn't work that way. You can't send
Hmm.
them a Facebook message, a IG, a TikTok. No. Even though we're moving in the 21st century, most of our middle age and elderly, they don't like that. Have a conversation with them.
Yes.
And our youth are so introverted these days. I mean, some may dare to say differently, but our youth is so different in terms of how they engage. They would rather find you on social media and say, let's have a talk there. And then if I feel like you're comfortable, then I'll see you in person. All safe and everything. But church is supposed to be that safe place for you. These people
That is
have been
true.
in ministry and have been appointed and have been assigned. Not calling them angels, but at the same time, too, a dialogue needs to take place. And don't start it, and youths don't start the dialogue by saying, well, Father put me here. You're just going to raise a red flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that will make elderly and your own and middle-aged people jump up and say, but who is you? Where you come out from? You know, and that's what causes division in the church.
Hmm. Now,
And
if I can give a little testimony here of how I started. Um,
mhm,
I started helping around the church when I was 12 after confirmation. And I remember there was a not kind of a hiccup, but kind of a resentment for letting youth become anything in the church in that time. I'm telling you, when I came, I was the only one. I tell you how I start. I started by cleaning the benches in the church,
mhm,
the pews, because we used to do renovations, or the not we be doing renovations at the church, the sorry, at the school next to the church, and all the dust will come into the church, and every day is removing that dust from the pews so that people can sit, and I would do that, and people will see me doing that, but every time I will get into a little argument. Now you know me, I don't quarrel a lot. No,
mhm.
I don't attack, I don't retaliate or anything like that, especially when I was 12.
If you was look at my
So I,
face.
so I would go back home. I will come back home all dirtied up with dust. And I would
Mhm,
enter the kitchen and I would start ranting with my mother. Again, this person did this, and I was told this, and I was told that in a very disappointed way, no?
mhm,
Because every time I go to church, they disappoint me by saying that this is not your job, or this is not what you're supposed to be doing, or blah, 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 whatever.
mhm,
And I remember one day my mother stopped me in the kitchen and was like, "No. You're not coming every time and ranting here about things that happen in church. You're going to church tomorrow and you're going to tell them that no one came from a seed and that they are all going to die one day. And if they don't teach you what to do, then no one else is going to do that. And guess what I did the next day?
Mm, I'm afraid to even ask, but okay, sure.
So I went and told them exactly that, that they're all going to die
Oh no. You see, this
and
is
that
the extremes that I'm talking about.
they have to teach the young people what to do. Otherwise, no one will do that.
God.
I was 12.
I can see the inner soul in you. That's fine. Um,
And
mhm,
after that, I got a calling, and two of the elders, they were a couple, still alive, God bless them, called me and said, "We are going to train you to become an officer."
mhm,
And after that, another couple also took me in and teach me some things as well.
right.
And after that, we started getting a few other altar servers coming in. And then look at my parish now, we almost reaching 20 altar servants.
Good job.
It's not a lot, but it's something.
It's something.
And
It's
it took a
something.
it took a little buff, a little reminder, but at the same time I had to be reminded at that okay, now the opportunity has been given to me, but I still have to listen to my elders for them to teach me what I need to know.
Oh yeah, a little bit of tough love is necessary in all that we
Yeah.
do.
Oh yeah, you knew
Um,
that. You knew that.
yeah, I mean, I got it a lot from Steve, but let's just put it that way. Um, so let's look at the chat. We are joined by Desiree and Miguela. Welcome, you two. I mean, geez, Desiree has been attacking me about this deed for the past like month.
I don't know who attacking you more, me or Desi.
I think I don't know if it's a tie because you've been attacking me since graduation. Desiree's been attacking me since I've moved to the parish. Um, but yes. So like Desiree does this thing now where she comes up to me and she's like, so have a natural conversation, natural conversation, natural conversation. So when's the date? And I'd be like, what's going on here? Like this has nothing to do with the conversation. But
Isn't that what I just did a few moments ago?
yeah, right. And then a few moments
David,
ago,
this. Have you chosen a date yet? No?
right. So I keep telling Steve, today is August the 13th, 2025. That's the date that, God has blessed me with. So, like, let's not go there. Okay? All right.
And Daisy, Daisy, I don't know if he'd start giving you the, I don't think I'm gonna get ordained anymore. I
Wow.
I might get ordained when you don't have to be here for my ordination. I might get ordained when you're in Aruba. Yeah, and he knows how to trigger me like that. No, he knows how to trigger me like that. You don't have to be here for my ordination. No.
Back in my days, um, okay, I'm not gonna go there, but you know what? It's fine, by God's grace. This is bacchanal. Um, but yes, back to the conversation at hand. And for all of you who are joining live with us, we're on YouTube. Usually our podcast is on a Monday, but for some strange reason,
Yeah.
we flip the M to a W and we end up on Wednesday. Um,
We already have to tell them that next week we would not be having podcast.
no, because Steve will be on retreat all week next week, and
Yes.
um, if I decide to do the podcast alone, I don't know, I might have a guest, or it's not going to be Steve and David. It might be David and somebody else. I don't know.
No, it would
Um,
definitely not be Steve if you want me to be kicked out of the retreat.
well, I mean, I'm not going to do something that's going to sabotage the retreat. Let's just not. We won't do that. We not do that.
Again,
But yeah. But usually we're on Mondays. Until the semester moves, we'll see how Steve will, flow and get back to me once he's academically advised yet again. Um, but keep Steve in your prayers because Steve is going back to seminary. Um, and it's year two for Steve,
Oh yeah,
philosophy, which means next year will be year one, theology. So, Steve is
yes.
moving up the ladder very quickly. So keep him in prayer. Because second year for me was like a blink and then poof, look where I'm at. Sandy Grandy. Um, so yeah. Um, I had something to add to the topic, but this whole thing with Desiree came up and it just threw me off. Thanks, Desiree. Um,
If any case, we will see each other in 2 weeks. Then,
mhm.
whatever
Oh,
topics that you guys would like to hear us talk about next, we
that's
will
right.
gladly appreciate it.
The chat is open for you to put topics yet again for us to work on it 2 weeks from now. See,
And
I think I'm
again, as
picking
I
up
was
your
saying,
beast mood.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Aha, funny. So funny. Right.
So, and if anything, the questions are too hard, they will always be referred back to David, as he is the expert.
David has to stumble and stumble and go. Um, but I think the value of the lesson before we move on is that, we have a lot of work to do, both youth and seniors. And I think if there's a real conversation that we need to have, is that the middle is always left behind. The middle is always left in the desert. And the middle literally is from those in 30s go all the way up to those in 55, 56. Because they are the working class people,
Hmm.
they just come to church and they sit down. That's a conversation that we should have. Like, how do we work with the middle? And
That is a good point because even when you were starting to say the middle is always left behind, and in my head I was going, but they never come because they have families. They're bringing up their families now.
right,
They're working, so they're going to be busy and would not have the time to pick up any ministry,
no, right.
and so they are left behind.
They're left behind because they can come to church and everything like that. Yes, but also too, the middle also suffers. They also go through grief. They also go through, you
Hmm.
know, they wish they could. They wish some things could change. Um, the middle also struggles with prayer life. The middle also struggles with, bringing harmony and understanding to what is God in their life. And usually the middle is where you would find atheists,
Yeah, that's true.
unfortunately. The middle is where you would find the atheists. The middle is where you would find those that, could easily turn away from church because they're growing with reason and wisdom and all this sort of isms. And, without the proper guidance, our middle is gone. And if we look at our church today, all the conversations have basically been the elderly versus the youth, and the middle just sitting down eating popcorn, more or less.
Sometimes it's they glad they're there, no drama for us,
Mm-mm.
but they fall behind in their spiritual life.
That's right. And the middles are in our families, our mothers, our fathers, our older brothers and sisters, our neighbors. And we turn to them, children, youth, when we have our struggles. And the elderly, I don't know if they do turn to them much, but they depend on them to help them navigate through things like going to the grocery for a simple cause, or going to the church to pick up something, or dropping mass attention for the priest, etc., etc. So the middle people, we appreciate you, and we understand that you are the silent workers behind all that is taking place, particularly in our church today. So we thank you.
Yeah. I see the 1 hour has passed.
I know because this was a tough topic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, like there are so many times I just wanted to grovel and just go under my bed and just
No, I was afraid you're going to mention names that should not be mentioned.
thank God I didn't. No, I was afraid you would have mentioned names after you went into the whole, death
Oh
thing.
no,
But
I it almost slipped my mouth. Oh, oh no, they already gone. They already gone
mm,
by now. So it was
mm, hmm interesting. Ah,
God rest
So,
their souls.
so speaking of the hour thing, God rest his soul. Pray for Steve. People just pray for Steve. Um, Speaking of the hour thing, a lot of people have suggested that we should probably go on for longer, but that's a conversation Steve and I will have as time progresses,
Yes,
because as we go in seminary, time can be limited.
it might be it might be later as well in the evening,
Correct.
as after dinner maybe for
Maybe.
us in the seminary
Mm-hmm.
would be around 7:30 or 8 o'clock.
It's about.
But it is something that we will discuss the coming weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And as I see the schedules of the seminary start to progress and how we doing and things like that, we will see what time and what day in the week is best
Yeah.
to continue with.
And if things go accordingly, maybe Steve and I might do a face-to-face in person, and we might open up for phone calls or to add extra people into our chats. And since I'm playing with graphics more or less, I mean, as you can see, I've been tampering with graphics all week long. Um, kind of getting my groove back, if it's me being petty there for 3 seconds. But anyway, um, so
You get your what?
uh, getting my groove back,
You get your groove.
my groove, yes, my groove.
Okay.
Apparently, using internet at this time of the day could be very hectic.
I can see that.
Yes. But anyway, um, it's been real. We thank you all for joining us here today. I know it was probably difficult because you're accustomed seeing us on a Monday, but moving forward, we'll try to keep the Mondays forward. You have a 2 week break away from us. Don't miss us,
Yeah,
Argentina. We will be back. We love you all. Thank you for the support. And I'm David,
I'm Steve.
and we'll be back again in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
In
Goodbye.
two. Bye, guys. Take care.